I'm Braden Chase, and I'm going to be talking about the issue of human population growth and why it's an issue today. So first of all, I would consider myself a credible source because I've studied this issue for about a year now. I studied it for a semester in environmental science in high school, and it also relates to my major because I'm an ag business major, and we need to have enough space to grow enough food for the amount of people that there's on Earth. So it's estimated that by 2050 there's going to be 9 billion people on Earth, and that's according to the Organization of World Overpopulation Awareness. And there's 7 billion people now, as of last year, compared to the 6 billion that there were in 1999. So basically there was 925 million people that went hungry in 2010, and that's about a seventh of our population. So that's a pretty high number, even though we might not be aware of that or affected by that immediately. But that's also in part due to the fact that 230,000 bodies are added to our planet every day.
Oh, wow.
So the main point, what's the issue? It's actually a huge issue that's affecting all of us, even though we might not see it directly. But it's mainly an issue because of negative environmental consequences that I'll touch on a few specifically, and sustainability issues and water issues. It's estimated in the next 2 decades there's going to be some shortages in fresh water, and I'll talk about why that's going to be an issue. And also just the issue of being able to feed and have enough shelter for 9 billion people, which, as I said, is the projected population for 2050. So first, negative environmental consequences. I chose this one specifically because I thought a lot of you probably wouldn't know about it. How many of you have heard about the issue of plastic gyres? Just 3 or 4 people, that's what I thought. So basically what the plastic gyres are, there's 5 main ones, and it's basically just a current where trash goes around in circles, basically, in the currents in the ocean. And the biggest one that there's been the most research on is the one off the coast of Alaska, which is actually 2 times the size of the US. And it's not really like a buildup of just like a landfill, just plastic bottles and trash everywhere, but the plastic is actually broken down into smaller pieces, and that spans for 2 sizes of our country. And the reason it's an issue is because we just have a lot of waste issues where we try to just stick waste in landfills or dispose of it in other ways, and really only 5% of recyclable waste gets recycled, which we should be able to increase that number. And it's an issue for marine life, especially because this is affecting their environment that they live in, and they're not used to this, obviously having small pieces of plastic that they're consuming without even knowing it in their homes. And all this information is from 5gyres.org. This is just a few pictures. As you can see, this bird didn't really have a chance to survive, how much garbage is consumed. And just a few more consequences: air pollution, carbon dioxide emissions are higher than ever, and just adding more people on that earth is just going to increase that further, because we're going to have to increase production to feed everyone, and also just we're breathing out carbon dioxide with every breath. So environmental consequences are an issue, but clearly so is the issue of having enough water to drink. We need more water, basically. The world demand has tripled in the last 50 years, according to Anup Shah's article, Stress on the Environment. And when we don't have enough water, we also don't have enough food. It's hard to produce, and we need it for irrigation and to be more productive, producing crops, and etc. Also, according to the Organization of World Overpopulation Awareness, we would need about 100 more Colorado rivers of fresh water by 2025 just to keep up with the population increase that we're expecting to see. And like I said, it's likely that we will see freshwater shortages. And this could also cause tensions and conflict between nations fighting over freshwater sources and trying to get enough just to suffice for their populations. So along with that issue as well comes the issue of not having enough food and space and shelter for everyone. So mainly we see the issues in developing countries. As you can see, the orange is developed countries, and over the past 300 years, how our population increased. It's really not that much, but what's significant is how exponentially the developing countries have been able to increase, and that's for a few reasons. So there's a few issues. They're having more kids than we are, and it's mainly due to birth control issues. Either they don't have access to it, or they're not educated about it and why they might need to use it, or they're just simply not allowed to use it. So based on their religion or cultural differences, where in certain villages they actually are encouraged to have more children as it's a sign of more power, which doesn't help us at all. So we make up only 5% of the world population, but we consume 40% of the world's resources, which is a pretty high number considering how much space we take up. And it's just a problem because, as I mentioned earlier, 925 million people are hungry, so we need to figure out a way to make our food consumption more efficient. So in conclusion, human population growth is a massive problem, not only because of environmental consequences that we are seeing and feeling every day, but also sustainability issues such as having enough fresh water and food and shelter for everyone. So next time you're throwing a water bottle, just remember where it's going to end up.